All right, guys, so now we're going to do the footer, and just to remind you what that looks like, it's the logo, the menu, social icons, and copyright on medium screens and up. We're going to have them side by side and justify between. All right, so let's start on that. We're going to go under the last section we did, and let's say footer. We want the entire thing to be black, so we're going to give it a class of BG black. Then we have kind of the main container. So that's going to have the class of container, and also let's do a max width of 6XL, just like all the other sections, and then PY10 and MX auto. All right, so that's the main container. Then we have, I guess, the footer flex container, and what I mean by that is the container that wraps around these two items. So this is gonna be flex, and this is gonna be the first flex item. This is gonna be the second, and then within there we'll have a container just for this and just for this. So let's go ahead and say flex. Now this is gonna be a flex column by default. So let's say flex call because we want everything to just stack on small screens. Then we're gonna items dash center, and let's do a margin bottom. So we'll do 8 for the margin bottom. The space on between the items on the y-axis is going to be 6. And then let's see, on medium screens we want to flex row so that they're side by side. Also on medium screens we want the space on between the y items to be 0. And then let's do on medium screens, we're going to justify between, because we want all that remaining space to go in between the two, you know, the logo and menu, and then the social icons. And for medium screens, we'll also do items, let's say items start. Okay, so within here, we're going to have basically two things, the menu and logo container. Or I should say we have two direct items, which are the menu and logo container. Then we have the social and we'll say copyright, whatever, container. So let's see, for this, we're going to want to use flex, and it's always going to be a flex call because the menu, the logo and menu are always going to be on top of each other, even on big screen. So we're looking at this right now. This is our flex column with these two items in it. So flex call, let's do items aligned center and space between them. We'll do 8. And on medium screens, let's say items dash start, so that aligns them to the start. Also on medium screens, we're going to do space dash y dash 4. Not 5, 4. All right, so we have the logo, which I'm going to put in a div with the class of h8 for the height, and then the image itself, and then on that I'm going to do a width of 44, and let's say ML, or on medium screens, we want to do ML-3. Okay, and the reason for that is because the items, so let's see, or not the items, but the menu is going to be pushed over, so we want that to be pushed over a little as well. And then the image itself is going to come from images / and its logo SVG. Okay, and then under that div, actually I'll put a link here, let's just say logo. And then we have our menu, or menu container. So that's going to use flex, and it's going to be a flex call on small screens. I'm going to do items dash center, and space between the y items will be 4. Let's say font dash bold, and text is going to be white. And then on medium screens, we're going to do a flex dash row so that they're side by side. And then take the space off on medium screens off of the Y items, so 0. And also on between the items on the x-axis, so space dash x, we're going to do 6. All right, so I think we should be good. Actually, on medium screens, let's do a margin left 3. Whoops. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now in here we have each of our menu items. So I'll just say like item 1. And these are all going to be wrapped in a div with a class of 810, so that's our height, and also group, because we're going to be using group hover for the border. And in here we'll have our link, which isn't going to go anywhere, and we'll say about for this one. And then underneath that, we want to have our border, so let's do mx2 border on the bottom, so border dash b. And then we want to do, actually, I'm sorry, this should be on hover only. So let's say group dash hover. Then we want the border on the bottom. Also on group hover, we're going to set the border color. So we'll do border blue dash 50, which is almost like white. And we don't have to put anything in there because that's just the border. So let's take a look at that. Okay, if we hover over the link or this part here, then we get that border effect. Okay, and the MX2 is just to make the border a little shorter because that's margin on the x-axis. If we remove that, then it's going to take the whole thing. So it's really up to you if you want to add that or not. But I think it looks a little better with it shorter. Okay, so let's copy item 1, which is this right here. We're going to copy that down. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. So the last one here is going to be item 5, then 4, 3, and 2. 2 is going to be careers. And then we have this one here, which is going to be events. And then item 4 is going to be, what is this, products. And then the last one is going to be support. All right, let's save that. And now we have all of our menu items. If I make this bigger, you can see that now that's going to go on that side. So next we have the social and copyright, which is going to go on the other side. So I already have a comment there. That's why it's really good to comment stuff, because there's just so many divs. I mean, I know with VS Code, you just highlight the beginning div and it'll show you the last, but I think it's easier to just comment stuff. So let's say flex call, because these are going to, the social icons and the copy are going to be on top of each other. And let's align to, let's say items start, and let's say justify the space between, and space on the y axis items will be 4. And let's do text dash gray 500. Okay, and then we have our icons container. So this is just the container for the icons. We want that to be flexbox, and we want it to always be a row because they're always going to go side by side, these icons. So we don't have to put flex call or anything like that. And then let's say items dash center, and also justify dash center, and then space between the X items we'll do 4, and on medium screens we're just going to set that to justify dash end. Okay, so now each icon will go in here. Let's say icon 1, and these are going to be wrapped in H-8 as well as group. Okay, so we just have a link, which is going to go nowhere, and then we have each image, and each image is going to have a class of H-6. So we're just giving it a height, and then images. This one is going to be Facebook. Okay, so if we take a look, see we have our Facebook icon, and then we want to add the rest. So I'm going to just copy that 2, 3, 4. And we'll just change this, so that's 2, 3, and 4. All right, and then the icons themselves, the second one is going to be Twitter. The third one is going to be Pinterest, and the fourth one is going to be Instagram. Save that. There we go. We'll add a hover effect on that afterwards. And then the only thing after that is the copyright, which is going to go under, let's see, it's going to go under the icons container. So that ends right here. Just say copy, and I'm just going to have a class of font-bold. And let's say we're going to do ampersand copy semicolon, which will give us the copyright symbol, and then 2022 Loop Studios and all rights reserved. Save that. Okay, now the icons they're aligned to the left, which is fine on medium and up, but I want them centered here. So what we'll do is go on to the icons container, and we're going to set MX, let's say MX Auto, right? Because we want them in the middle, but then on medium screens, let's say MX-0. So they're centered now, and then when I hit medium screens and up, then they're going to be back in their original position. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty good. The last thing we want to do is have a hamburger menu, because right now we can't, I mean, we're not creating secondary pages or inner pages anyway, but if we did have these pages, we wouldn't be able to access them on smaller screens. So that's what we'll get to in the next video.